And so as far as working with faculty and staff and departments, there's a few different ways that we have been utilized before in the past. And I should say, we're always open to new ideas and new initiatives. It's very rare when we say no. I'd like to point that out. One of the most common things is having career services come in and present on a certain career topic. And it's a great option in case you're traveling, if you're going to a conference or anything like that. You don't have to cancel class. We can come in, whether it be virtual or in person. We do both. We're happy to help out with attendance. We've done that in the past, and it might be filling up the whole class period or maybe 5 or 10 minutes in the beginning to share some kind of tidbit with your students. Now, the key is our handy presentation request form. Everything flows through that. You can always call and chat before you fill that out if you have questions. And these are just some of the topics that are out there. And so it might be effective video interviewing techniques or dressing for success. I should point out, though, these are not the only topics. If you're curious about a very specific part in the career development process, contact us. We regularly create new presentations from scratch on a per request basis. And so we love working with students and with faculty and staff members. And so keep us in mind for different presentations. And as I said, this is probably the vast majority of how the campus uses our office. Another way, though, is in a close second, is through assignments. Telling your students, okay, it's 5 points. Go in, get your resume looked at by career services, or go in and make sure your handshake profile is set up, or whatever it might be. We're more than happy to help out with this. The only thing we really ask is give us a heads up that this is coming up, because from time to time we'll find out through the students that it's for an assignment, and we think we can create a really strong experience for everybody involved if we have a little bit of a heads up. Whether you have a interview rubric or interview questions you would like us to follow on your behalf for your class, we can do that. Or likewise too, as far as resume formatting, we're very familiar with the fact that a resume for, say, an accounting student is going to be very different than a resume for an education or a safety student. And we're totally fine with that. And so if you have requirements you are looking for on your grading rubrics, if you let us know, then we can be prepared as your students come in and have a talk with us. But as I said, if this is on your radar, please don't hesitate to reach out. We would love to have that conversation with you. And same way too with event attendance. And the great thing is we do track attendance at all of our events. And so it's not difficult at all for us to run a report. Typically, we ask for a spreadsheet of your students, and then we can go in and tell you, yes, this person attended, or no, this person didn't. And even if we work it down to the career fairs, we can tell you not only if they attended, but how many interactions they had with our visiting employers. And so we really strive to kind of create some really good actionable reports for our friends across campus. And last but certainly not least, and as I said, we're always open to ideas, but we're very well aware that students will typically interact with their departments, especially after they leave and they become alums. And they may be looking for an intern, for instance, or a college level hire. And obviously, they like to reach out to their old units and their old departments. That's great. We want to support that any way we can. And typically, I'm sure you all have kind of received messages from us saying, hey, so and so is an alum. They contacted us. This might work well in your area. We want to pass this along. It also helps too if it goes the other way. If we find out that an alum has contacted a department, it may be an organization that we already have a relationship with, that they may already be in Handshake, but maybe that position isn't listed yet. Or it might be a organization that doesn't realize all of the opportunities that we have here at Murray State. And so it could be an organization that is seeking one particular degree, but they might have needs for another. And so it just kind of helps just if we can be looped in. We're not trying to take anything over or anything like that. but it helps us out in terms of kind of finding out, okay, what opportunities are available out there. And that way also too, likewise, as we meet with your students, we can also share the opportunity with them. So the final part of our talk is discussing briefly about our spring 21 initiatives. And so as we started planning, and we typically start our spring planning or our semester planning a couple months in advance. And so we're really happy with everything going on so far. We were happy with the fall and kind of working through a virtual environment. We really kind of designed the spring to be similar, basically. And so our expectation is the fall we will be able to return to in-person events. If we're able to before then, wonderful. We'd be more than happy to pivot into those areas. Just share with you a little bit about what's going on here. One thing we're going to be hosting is a career fair boot camp, if you will. And this is a come and go event. Students aren't, stuck with us for 2 whole hours. They're welcome to if they like. But students can come in and receive customized advice based on whatever is happening with them, specifically as it pertains to the career fairs. So it might be, what should I wear, or what kind of background should I have as I'm talking to employers? How does my resume look? Whatever questions they may have, we're happy to answer for them. And I'll give you a full disclosure right now. All of these events, students can register for these on Handshake, and that's going to be the process. I said we use that system a lot. We are still doing the Suit Up events with JCPenney, and so I'm certain everybody here is familiar with the news that our Murray JCPenney will be closing between now and March. As soon as that news came out, we reached out to JCPenney Corporate. We were planning on doing a virtual event again anyway. We did this back in the fall, and we had, I want to say it was around 230 participants, which the first time out with a virtual event, we were actually pretty happy with that. Same thing is happening here in the spring. It was already on the schedule and ready to go. And so we are going to go ahead and maintain this event with JCPenney for the spring. And then we have some decisions to make about what this might look like in the fall semester. This is a listing of some of the apparel that is eligible for this discount. Basically, it's a discount on professional clothing. One thing is, and I don't know if there's anybody from the School of Nursing or the veterinary program on this call. However, scrubs are not included this semester, and that bummed us out. But unfortunately, they just don't have the inventory to manage the orders that they would typically expect to receive. So it's just like past years, just no scrubs, unfortunately. But as far as professional clothing goes, and as Drew mentioned, the career closet's a great option, but JCPenney, new professional clothing. And we still tell students, dress professionally, whether you're on video, on phone, or of course in person. And so we've got several events, several career fairs, if you will, for our students, including with our friends over in the Hudson School of Agriculture. And that's actually an example that we're all really proud of being able to reach out and help our friends on campus kind of convert some of their events to virtual events if they needed it. Another example, it's not on this slide here, but last semester we helped out the health professions fair go virtual. And so anytime we can be of assistance, please don't hesitate to reach out. Perhaps your department or of an event similar to a career fair where students are interacting with external parties, it may be beneficial to give us a call and see, is there some way we could potentially help out in terms of letting you use our tools for this. And so more than happy to keep Travis even busier than he already is. We are doing, I mentioned earlier, some of our career labs and career seminars. Our regular seminars that happen generally once a week, we are going to be recording these and putting them on YouTube. We ran them live, so to speak, in the fall, but unfortunately students, whether it's during class times or they had other obligations or they just needed a break from Zooms. We didn't have the traction that we had expected. And so we're actually going to be putting these on our YouTube channel. We will also be using our Facebook page as well for select type of situations where we're going to do Facebook Lives. This goes through some of the topics anyway that typically we get these topics too when they're requested by either students or departments. And so if you have an idea for a particular subject we could cover, and we would love to do that. And so um, this is us, the people that you see that are hosting and running these. And typically speaking, they're around 30 to 40 minutes long, and then share some different information with them. Now, we are going to be hosting career labs, and these are similar to the Career Fair Boot Camp that I mentioned earlier, where students will be able to come into one room and then be dealt off to specific rooms for their own interactive needs. And so perhaps it's what's the best way to introduce myself, or what's a good elevator pitch, or what do I do my first 2 weeks on my internship? Uh, that's what these are going to be designed for. And so it's going to be kind of an all hands on deck type of program for career services, because obviously we need staffing in all these different Zoom rooms. But we're really excited about this. And then once again, register on Handshake. And that's a ton of stuff. And I will say, though, we are always looking to build out more activities, more events. There will be more information forthcoming. We've got a couple of different events, one potentially after March 3rd, after the STEMOSH career fair that evening, that we're still working on building out and producing. And we got to make sure people are available and facilities are available, so on and so forth on their end. So I can't say a whole lot about those right now, but do understand that we are always open to ideas, whatever it might be. Potentially it's something that you just read about from another university, or maybe your alma mater did something and it's something that potentially we could adopt and customize for Murray State. We're always interested in trying to do new things and push things forward. And we are still interested in doing an etiquette dinner, for instance. That was planned for April 1st of last year. Naturally, that did not happen, but that's an example of something that's definitely still at the top of our list once we can go back to in-person events. So this does conclude our presentation today. As promised, we got you out just an hour. We really appreciate you all tuning in. We know this is a busy time of year. Don't hesitate to reach out to us anytime, whether it be through phone, email, social media, or you can just come in to 100 Oakley. Just wear your mask and stay distant and use hand sanitizer like we all do. And we look forward to working with you and having a great spring 21 semester. Thank you again for tuning in, and go Racers. All right.